Let's take a look at how we solve one-step inequalities. So the assumption is going to be that when we're looking at these one-step inequalities, we already know how to solve one-step equations. If you don't know how to solve one-step equations, then please go back and find the video that's over solving one-step equations and watch that first. When we are solving one-step inequalities, we are going to use the exact same rules that we use for one-step equations. In fact, all of our steps with inverse operations and the order that we solve is exactly the same. The only thing that's different is we need to spend more time focusing on the inequality sign and making sure that we always keep it the correct direction. Okay, and when we're solving, there's going to be two reasons why we might need to take some time to focus on the inequality sign and change the direction that it's opening. If we ever have to rewrite to put the variable on the other side, that's going to be a reason to flip the inequality sign. Okay, I talk more about that in my video over graphing inequalities. So if you want some more info on that, please go back and watch the graphing inequalities video. The other reason why we might flip the inequality sign is if we are going to multiply or divide by a negative to solve. So we are never going to flip the sign if we are using addition or subtraction. Okay, we're only going to flip the sign if we are using multiplication or division and we're dividing by or multiplying by a negative to solve, which means there can be a negative in the problem and it not flip the sign. It has to be something we're multiplying or dividing by. So for example, if we have 2x is greater than or equal to negative 12, if we look at this problem using our basic solving one-step equations, right, same rules, we know that our variable is x and that we have the 2 sitting over here by it. Okay, if we want to get rid of this 2, we should recognize that this is 2 times x, and to undo multiplication, we're going to use division, right, where whatever we do to one side, we're going to have to do to the other. We know that these will cancel out, and just like normal, we know that we have an x left on the left, and a negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. We then need to decide if this is a reason to flip our inequality sign. And if we look at the math that we did negative 12 divided by positive 2. So even though there's a negative in this problem, the actual value that's coming over and being moved that we're dividing by is in fact a positive 2. So that's not a reason to flip our inequality sign, and we would get an answer of x is greater than or equal to negative 6. If we look at the problem, negative 3y is less than negative 9. Again, with our regular solving equations rules, right, we want to get y by itself. We know that this is negative 3 times y. So we will undo multiplication with division, leaving us with a y on the left and a positive 3 on the right. Now in this problem, we moved the negative 3 to the other side, and we have negative 9 divided by negative 3. So we did divide by a negative, and that would be a reason to flip the inequality sign. Now make sure, right, this is only for multiplication and division, which means if we have something like x plus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 6, right, it doesn't matter what we do here to solve. We're solving with addition and subtraction, and that's never a reason to flip the sign, and so we know we can bring it down just the way it is. Right? Maybe we have something like negative y over 4 is greater than 7. So if we want to get y by itself, we have sort of all of this we need to move, right? So we can undo that division with multiplication, and we can multiply each side by negative 4. Again, the number that we're moving is a negative 4, and we are multiplying by a negative. So we have a y left on the left we have a negative 28 left on the right, and since we multiplied by negative, that is a reason to flip our sign. Okay, so using this new rule, we can apply that to what we also learned about rewriting with the variable first. So there might be problems where we have to consider flipping the sign more than once. So maybe 20 is greater than negative 4w. If we look at this problem, our variable is w, and we're multiplying by negative 4. So to move that negative 4, we're going to undo multiplication with division. So our negative 4's cancel out, which leaves us with a w, and on the left-hand side, we have a negative 5. Notice I can't change the order here. My w's on the right, so it needs to stay on the right. I also divided by a negative, which means that's a reason to flip my sign. Now, to have this in our best form of an answer, we really want that variable first. So to get our variable first, we're going to rewrite our variable on the left, our number on the right. That's also a reason to flip the sign. And so we end up with a final answer of w is greater than negative 5.